Final Fantasy Timeline Theory Part 2, World A. In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. Carl Jung. World of Final Fantasy. In this timeline, we will discuss Final Fantasy 6, 12, Dissidia 1, and 5. Power of the Espers. Final Fantasy 6. The Warring Triad found themselves on the first planet born of the Void, World A. Mortal beings already occupy this planet. Without restraint, the Triad rages war, and the mortals are drawn into the battle. Some become Espers and were forced to fight for the gods. In time, they realize the chaos they were causing is reminiscent of the conflicts in World B. They steal their powers away, yet again, and return the Espers' free will. Turning themselves to stone, they task the Espers with protecting them and keeping them petrified. To ensure their everlasting rest, the Espers leave World A and take the Triad statues with them to a new realm, or the Esper world. With their departure, magic left the world for the time being. Society advanced with science and technology that was developed. The planet went under reconstruction, empires rose, war broke out again, but a peace treaty was made. However, one empire, Galstihian, declared independence and built up its military force. During this time, the world saw a surge of industrial and artistic revelations. Some empires merged into unified nations, one called Nirsh, and Figaro Castle was constructed in the middle of a desert. Figaro Castle rivaled the Gastalian Empire in technology, but the empire would pull ahead. A human, Madeline, finds a way to the Esper world and falls in love with an Esper named Moduin, and together they have Terra, who is a half Esper, half human hybrid. Not long after her birth, the Empire finds its way to the Esper world and captures Terra and other Espers. They are imprisoned in the Magic Tech Research Facility. It is used to develop armor for knights and make them able to wield magic by draining power from the Espers. Their first experiment on Kefka Palazzo ended with the shattering of his mind, and he loses his sanity. With more testing, the western continent is conquered, and Figaro Castle allies itself with the Empire while secretly supplying a group of rebels called the Returners. Years later, Kefka rises to power and tests the effectiveness of a controlling device called the Slave Crown on Terra. He tasks her with killing 50 Imperial soldiers, and she does. He sends her to Nirsh to collect a frozen Esper that recently appeared there. Kefka is unaware that Espers still exist and has no knowledge of the source of Magitech, which is Espers. During her mission, the Esper breaks the crown and Terra regains her free will. She flees to Figaro Castle, but Kefka tracks her down. He attempts to burn the castle, but it buries itself into the desert, and Terra and her new allies escape. Moving on, the Empire begins another military campaign and attacks Doma. Kefka poisons the water supply and kills all but 2 residents of Doma. Upon making contact with the frozen Esper, Terra finds out she is half Esper, and she learns from the Esper Ramu that the source of magic is Magitech, which are the remains of an Esper, and much stronger than Magitech. The Returners go to the research facility to free the Espers, but in the process, Kefka learns of the Espers' true power. The Returners bring the Espers back to the Esper world, but want the others to help them stop Kefka. They break the seal on the gate, and unfortunately, this is what Kefka wanted. Kefka is able to kill some Espers and use their Magitite to become too powerful for the Espers to subdue him. Entering the Esper world, he makes contact with the Warring Triad, and the world rises to become the floating continent. Wanting more power, Kefka succeeds in obtaining the power of the Triad and becomes the god of magic. In the process, he knocks the Triad statues out of balance, creating the world of ruin. Kefka builds a tower to rule from and uses a beam of light to destroy anything he wants. He creates monsters and fear, or a cult of people that fear him. In the end, Terra and her allies battle Kefka in 2 forms, a 3-tier mechanical organic tower of hell, purgatory, and heaven, and his angelic, also demonic, godly form. Upon defeat, Magicite, magic, and the Espers disappear from the world and return to the rift. All humans, fiends, and monsters remain. The heroes work on rebuilding the world without magic. Legends of the Espers persist, in which the Aeons of Spira of Final Fantasy X are created in a likeness, and replica statues of the Warring Triad make their way to Gaia of Final Fantasy IX. forever representation of the struggle of coexistence between man, magic, and machine. Centuries later, magic returns with the discovery of World B and the introduction of orbs or crystals. They are the first world crystals to be fully charged due to Kafka's magic in the Rift. Before that, Kafka's magic was used to create deities of a new world of the Rift called Ivalice. Mist of the Rift, Final Fantasy XII. In the world of Ivalice, Akuria are born of mist created by Aether and led by the Akuria Giron. The source of magic and life force of this world are high amounts of mist that form into magicite, or stones in which magic can be drawn from. The Akuria create Espers with Kefka's magic to become their servants. An Esper ultimately leads a revolt, but the Akuria bound them in glyphs and scattered them throughout Ivalice. In time, the Akuria withdrew into Giravan, or the Holy Realm, with a great crystal in a pit, and watched over Ivalice from afar. They sealed the gate to their ancient city and shrouded it in mist. Chaos ensued in Ivalice, and the Akuria seek to dictate mankind by giving them power that they can manipulate. Garun gave 3 shards of nethicite that absorbed mist from the great crystal to the king of Valendia, Wraithwall. He created the Galatine Alliance, and he is called the Dynast King. 1 shard is given to Dalmasca, the Dust Shard, and 1 shard is given to Nabradia, the Midlight Shard. Suncrest remains with the king. The crystal and shards absorb mist, and it leaks from them. City-states Arcadia and Rosaria rise to military empires after the king's death, and the Republic of Landis were established. Peace doesn't last long. Rogue Akuria Venat makes an alliance with Dr. Sid of Arcadia with the goal of severing the Akuria's hold on mankind, which is the Suncrest. It teaches Dr. Sid how to manufacture nethicite. Eventually, they enlist the help of Vane Salador and Gabranth to help accomplish Venat's goal. Arcadia leads a military campaign to attain the Midlight and Dust Shards. The mist released from them and the Suncrest can be used to fuel their sky fortress Bahamut. A resistance organization formed. People all over Ivalice join. The heroes find themselves looking for stones and the Suncrest. Dark crystals of Giza Plains absorb sunlight and are drained into shade stones to create sunstones needed to access the castle of Rabanastre, which is the capital of Damascus, where Vane resides. A way stone is needed to access the city where the Akuria reside. Ash, Princess of Damascus, or former Princess of Damascus, is chosen to be the new Dynast King. The Akuria essentially want to protect their control on mankind by keeping the Suncrest intact. Instead, Ash sought to destroy it. The Suncrest is destroyed by Ridis, in which he sacrificed himself to save Ash from the explosion when the Suncrest was destroyed. Thus, the Akuria's hold on mankind is severed and Venat's goal is accomplished. With Fortress Bahamut fueled and Vane gaining much power from Venat, Vane wants to become the new Dynast King. Ash and allies are able to defeat Vane and Venat, and peace is restored. In the aftermath, the mist clears and sky pirates discover the sky continent, Lemures, where a race of winged humans live, and they are called angels. They discover a threat from the Judge of Wings, who wants to drain their orethals, or crystals harboring a collection of anima, to summon an Esper Hiari. Anima is the soul, and it gives a being emotion. A stone erythite drains the person's anima. Some angels help the pirates defeat the Judge of Wings, who is named Philothanos. The angels had an ancient grudge with the Akuria and Ivalice due to the Akuria were not accepting of his mating with the Vera, which is a bunny-eared, very tall, human-like race of Ivalice, as the Akuria saw this as the creation as a disorder. As a result of his defeat, of Philothanos' defeat, the sky continent was shattered, and the angels look for a new home in which they leave Ivalice. Tales about them are told in later generations, as told in Final Fantasy Tactics. The mist of the rift seeps into the void where Chaos and his four fiends reside. The mist gives more power to the chaos energy, and darkness starts to invade the world of the light, or world A. Shiryu is consumed by the dark mist. It begins to convolute time in the rift and started to steal memories, creating amnesia. A high concentration of dark mist manifested into a dark crystal of chaos, possessing dark magic of Kefka and the Warring Triad, and also chaos. Void of Darkness, Dissidia. The nation of Onrak of World A discovered a door to the rift and retrieved a sample of crystal ore for study. The ores are the basis of life forms and are manipulated to make the first mannequins, which take on the forms of the researchers observing them. They were but mindless puppets, so Sid of Lufane was recruited to transplant memories into them. He was a scientist who studied harmony and discord and the creator of the mannequins. His perfect mannequin creation was Chaos. Raised as a weapon of war, he grew too powerful. Thus Cosmos, who resembles Sid's wife, was made. She has a power equal to Chaos. Witnessing the death of his mother caused Chaos to open a portal to the rift and travel to World B with Sid and Cosmos in tow. With no way of getting back, a being named Shiryu offers them a way back to World A. Shiryu brings replicas of warriors and villains from various Final Fantasy games, past, present, and future, and steals their memories. Thus, the cycles of war between Chaos and Cosmos begins. At the end of the 13th cycle, Shiryu is confronted to end the cycles. In the end, Cosmos stays in World B with Chaos. They both fade away while Sid, Warrior of Light, that possesses the soul of light, and Garland, that possesses the soul of dark, returns to World A. Shiryu travels through the rift with the Dark Crystal to World A and takes Chaos with it. Cosmos creates Omega, a being who can combat Shiryu and is drawn to his presence. Warriors of Light, Final Fantasy I. The ancient civilization of Lufane was technology advanced. Sid created airships, robots called Wartech, and a flying fortress using the power of the Wind Crystal or Orb. However, the orb went dark when the Fiend Tiamat waged war. 5 Sky Warriors are sent to restore the orb, but they failed and were turned to bats. Many centuries later, another Fiend Kraken darkened the water crystal by sinking a civilization into the ocean, while the earth and fire crystals are darkened by Lich and Merilith respectively. 4 Warriors of Light of Lucan's prophecy arrive at the castle in Cornelia with the 4 darkened crystals, and they are the chosen ones. The king tells the warriors that his daughter Sarah was kidnapped by Rogue Knight Garland and taken to Chaos Shrine. Along the way, they defeat the 4 fiends and restore the crystals. They also defeat 4 other fiends, Scarmigliore, Canazio, Barachia, and Rubicate, who guard Chaos. However, an unknown power is still draining them, and answers lie at Chaos Shrine. Here, they find the Dark Crystal of Shiryu. This dark crystal transports them 2,000 years into the past using the power of the mist from the rift. The mist of the rift allowed the 4 fiends to use elemental magic to create the time spell, thus creating the time loop of this world. This time loop involved Chaos sending the fiends into the future to bring back Garland just before he was defeated by the Warriors of Light. Into the past, and Garland would summon the fiends to the future so they can darken the crystals to give power to the dark crystals so Garland can become Chaos. In other words, their world repeats the same 2,000 years. The warriors are able to kill the fiends before Chaos can send them into the future and defeat Chaos. When they return to the present, the world has no recollection of the fiends or the crystals darkening due to Shinryu stealing their memories. However, the Warriors of Light remember and keep protecting the world and its 4 crystals. The fiends return to the void with Garland and Chaos, waiting for someone to summon them. Creation of Dark Crystals, Final Fantasy V. Now named Planet R, an ancient civilization constructed the ancient library to preserve their memories in writing. The people are aware of the rift and the void. A powerful mage named Inu ruled the world using the power of darkness from the void. The ancients retaliated by using 12 legendary weapons to vanquish Inu. However, the void itself cannot be destroyed. Consequently, the people split the world's 4 elemental crystals into 2 sets, effectively creating 2 worlds. The void then became sealed in a dimensional cleft between the 2 worlds, thus creating Bart's world and Golof's world, with the rift between them. Crystals seal Inu and the rift, 4 in one world and 4 in the other. In time, the original summons are reborn: Ifrit, Ramu, Shiva, Titan, Odin, Bahamut, Leviathan, and Phoenix, and a few others as well. They are called Espers and live out their own lives. In present time, kings and queens in Bart's worlds are abusing the power of the crystals, draining them with machines until they burst. Sid gave them the idea due to reading books on crystals in the ancient library. His grandson Mid is able to find an alternative way to fuel the machines. Meteors are falling on the planet, and they contain teleportation devices and warriors of dawn from Gulof's world. These warriors sealed Exeth away on Bart's world 30 years prior. Gulof informs the party that if the 4 crystals are shattered, Exeth or Inu will be freed, and of course he is. They travel to Gulof's world, where they face General Gilgamesh, who is a weapons collector, multiple times, and his partner Enkidu. Eventually, they are defeated and sent to the rift. Exeth takes control over Golof's crystal after the party accidentally breaks the seal. As a result, the worlds become merged again, and Exeth seeks to control the void. They discover a way to stop him while at the ancient library. They need to gather the 12 sealed legendary weapons to kill Exeth, but first they must find the sealed tomes to break the seals. Each tome is connected to an element, as well as Bahamut and Leviathan, and strong elemental or magical spells like Flare, Meteor, and Holy. After battling Shiryu, Omega, Gilgamesh, and Atmos in the rift, ironically enough, Exeth is defeated by the void, which manifested to destroy everything. Upon defeat, crystal fragments gathered during their journey restored the crystals, and the void retreats. The guardian tree of the Forest of Moor revives fallen comrades. The warriors of light continue to protect the crystals. Eventually they will create an advanced society called the Floating Continent and the Flood of Light, in which 4 warriors of darkness would be needed to restore the balance. Also, 4 light crystals were made into 4 dark crystals to bring balance. They are guarded by 4 new fiends: Ahriman, Cerberus, Echidna, and 2-headed dragon. Chaos persists in the rift with Shinryu and Omega and the original dark crystal until they find their way to a new planet, Spira. A quick recap of parts 1 and 2 of my Final Fantasy timeline theory. We have the crystal world, in which the original crystal was red and blue, and it decided to split itself into 2, the light crystal blue called Hadalane, and the red crystal of dark called Zodiac, and this created the rift and the void. In the rift, there's a bunch of worlds that are birthed, and the first being Final Fantasy XI, and then being Final Fantasy XIV, in which these worlds are called World B. Much conflicts ensues in these worlds, which causes Hadalane to create World A, and also she creates these mother crystals that gives birth to the world of Final Fantasy VI. And Final Fantasy VI is influenced by the warring triad of Final Fantasy XIV that found their way to this planet and and started ruling over the people. Turn that down. And so in this world, it ended with the end of magic due to Kefka taking control of all the Warring Triad's power, and then subsequently being defeated and ended up going into the Rift. Now while he was in the Rift, he was able to fuel this life force called Ether that was already there, causing more myths to be produced, and it becomes stronger, and this creates the deities of the world of Final Fantasy XII, and called their Curia. And so what they do is they cause even more myths to persist in this realm, and this gives the power to Chaos and the Fiends to create the time loop that happens in Final Fantasy 1 with Garland, Chaos, and the Four Fiends. in the world of Final Fantasy I was also influenced by this weird cycle created in Dissidia due to Luffy's creation of Cosmos and Chaos, which will be a big representation of light and dark and what side the heroes and villains of Final Fantasy are on. This world also introduced the fueling of this mother crystal or world crystal, I guess. More mother crystal, I guess, is for the rift. But for this one, world crystal of Final Fantasy I, which is also called orbs, I think, in the original version. So I guess refer to them as orbs. And these become darkened, and they find out the time loop that I mentioned earlier, and they stop Garland and Shinryu, Omega, and all of them go back into the rift and wait to be summoned again. And these warriors of light that were created persist in this planet, and this ends up being called Planet R of Final Fantasy V, in which these floods of light and dark start to develop when the four original crystals were made into two sets now, and then one of the sets became dark crystals, and this will lead into Final Fantasy III, which will be in part 4 of my videos. So the next part is a little bit different. And so far that's what we have for the timeline, as you can see here, and then of course I'll do more recaps as more parts go on, and then of course at the end I'll connect everything together into a chronological timeline. As you can see, that I'm trying to do these videos again, trying to go through it chronologically, so in the end everything will come together nicely, better than how it organized it the first time. So with that, my music is off, and I will see you next time. Comment, share, like, dislike, whatever you want to do. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.